evening and welcome to the Global News at 9. First, the headlines. CP advises newly promoted ASPs. Gunmen kill 3 in Yobe school. Senate vows move against blackmailers. Federal government okays 50% electricity subsidy. Russian strikes kill 2 in Ukraine. Oba of Bini gifts Rema Royal Medal. Al-Ahali agrees €80 million fee for Osimhen. Now to the news in detail. Commissioner of Police, Rivers State Olatunji Rwandisu, represented by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations, DCP Olubenga Adebochu, has tasked newly promoted Assistant Superintendents of Police with maintaining a high level of discipline and dedication to the service of Nigeria Police Force. He gave the charge while decorating 401 inspectors with their new ranks of ASP at the police officers mess, that's Old GRA Port Harcourt. He was assisted by Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of administration, DCP Samuel Erale Etaifo, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of State CID, DCP Abubakar Aliyu, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of administration, ACP Iriju J. Baraswa, and then the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of State Intelligence Department, ACP Akintunde, amongst other senior officers of the command. The CP said the elevation of the inspectors to ASP was in recognition of their discipline, commitment, and dedication to duty. He noted that promotion comes from God, and he had counted the promotees worthy amongst their colleagues with whom they started. He prayed that the Almighty God will continue to be their guide. In his vote of thanks, ASP Miriam Opune, who spoke on behalf of the other promoted officers, thanked the Almighty God for making this day possible. She further thanked the Police Service Commission for the timely release of these promotions after recommendations by the Inspector General of Police, and said that they were aware that higher ranks come with higher responsibilities and promised to justify this gesture. Analysts have blamed the continuous bickering amongst politicians on inequality and lawlessness. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Open Conversation, a political analyst, Daniel Momo, maintains that increasing injustice amongst political parties and its members is the major challenge.
I say, but unfortunately, Supreme Court over the years had said that every person who is dissatisfied with the decisions of a political party should first seek the internal mechanism of that party. But how about a case where you know that you will not get justice? I think these are the things that we must ask ourselves as a people. I know that I will not get justice. Will I still go there or go to court? Fundamentally, do I have a right to sit where I know, you know it, that you will not get justice?
Elucidating further, Momo advised APC Tony Okocha and other politicians to be law-abiding.
But the truth is, Okocha had gone to the Court of Appeal. We should please hold on, allow the Court of Appeal make that pronouncement, because going to the court, what you have said is that you have submitted everything you are supposed to say, you have given it to the court, and the court should make that pronouncement on your behalf. So Okocha should be patient enough and wait for the Court of Appeal to make their own pronouncement on it.
This is coming as Chief Tony Okocha, the embattled caretaker chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State and the governorship candidate of the party in 2023 election, Pastor Toye Cole, have traded words over the crisis rocking the party and its leadership in the state. In its determined efforts to positively impact on the investment climate in Rivers State for the benefit of the people, the Rivers State House of Assembly at its 32nd legislative sitting on Friday passed the Rivers State Electricity Market Bill 2024, which is a bill for a law to repeal the Rivers State Electricity and Gas Board Law Cap 50, Laws of Rivers State 1999, and to enact the Rivers State Electricity Markets Law to provide for electricity supply, its power generation, transmission and distribution within Rivers State, and to establish the Rivers State Electricity Commission for the enforcement of consumers' rights and obligations, and for connected purposes. Debating on the report presented by Honorable Franklin Nwabochi, Chairman of the House Committee on Power, on the public hearing of the bill, members lauded the committee for a job well done, stressing that the level of stakeholders' participation in the public hearing speaks volume on the acceptability of the bill, and urged the House to pass the bill into law. Commenting on the report of the committee, the Speaker of the House, who is also the sponsor of the bill, Right Honorable Martin Ameole, commended the committee and honorable members for their robust debate on the importance of the bill. The Speaker emphasized the benefits of the bill, which he stated would allow the electricity market to flourish, adding that the bill, when passed into law, will attract foreign investors and open windows for opportunity people. Right Honorable Ameole expressed the hope that, given the progressive import, the accruable benefits of the bill, the governor would assent to the bill when passed. Recall that the electricity market bill was committed to the House Committee on Power on the 8th of May 2024, and in line with legislative practice and rules of the House resolved into the Committee of the Whole and gave the bill clause by clause consideration before reverting to plenary to give the bill third reading. House of Representatives Committee on Host Communities and the Foundation of Partnership Initiatives in the Niger Delta have lamented the slow implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act and the gaps in the law. Speaking in Port Harcourt, Rivers State during the Dialogue and Experience Sharing Forum on Host Communities Development under the Bridges Project, the foundation highlighted the need for collaboration among stakeholders, including oil and gas companies, government entities and community organizations. Executive Director Pind Tunji Idowu urged communities in the region to take advantage of the Petroleum Industry Act to prioritize sustainable development instead of wasting money on White Elephant project. He harped on the need for communities to understand their roles and responsibilities in ensuring effective implementation of the PIA. In his remarks, the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Host Communities, described implementation as slow and called for more commitment from stakeholders. In his remarks, the Program Manager for Natural Resources and Climate Change, Ford Foundation, emphasized the organization's commitment to reducing inequalities in natural resource extraction. Akwa Ibom State Police have neutralized a dreaded kidnap kingpin, sea pirate, whose stock in trade was to kidnap, kill, maim, and cause havoc in the state. The kingpin, Ubong Achibong, alias Condiment, a gang leader in the Bling Marine Strike Force terrorizing Uruan Oron waterways, was responsible for the kidnapping of a High Court judge, Joy Nwana, and the killing of her police orderly inspector, Thangod Edet, the gruesome mother of the CEO and Sons Nigeria Limited, and the kidnapping of a sales rep. The suspect was also responsible for the kidnap of pharmacist Joemel, as well as responsible for the kidnap of Brown, Chief Executive Officer of Mingus Hotel. A statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer, Akwa Ibom State Command, ASP Tim Fon John, said the suspect was neutralized during a gun battle with operatives of the command in his hideout in Uganda community in Cross River State. Meanwhile, the command has reassured Akwa Ibom people of the determination of the police command to constantly make Akwa Ibom a safe and secure place for business to thrive. The command, however, called on Akwa Ibom people to report all suspicious movements to the police, adding that the police are determined to serve with all amount of professionalism. Akwa Ibom State Police Command has exhumed bodies of marine hunters of the Ministry of Internal Security and Inland Waterways who were kidnapped, murdered and buried by notorious criminals in Umbo, local government area of the state. It was disclosed that those suspected to be behind the hunters' gruesome murder have been apprehended. The police also revealed that the village head of the Utetatai, Chief Okon Asukwo, who was said to be fortifying the suspected murderers, was arrested with the suspect. The command, in a statement on Friday by its spokesperson, Tim Fon John, said the bodies were exhumed on Thursday following information that the hunters were slain and buried in shallow graves. According to him, the marine hunters, were adopted, killed and buried in shallow graves within the community. Gunmen on Friday attacked Obaru local government area secretariat, destroying some buildings and other properties. Sources told newsmen that the gunmen arrived in their numbers and opened fire, destroying buildings within the headquarters of the council area. It was gathered that no lives were lost in the incident, though details of the attack are still sketchy as of the time of filing this report. Police authorities have confirmed it. State Police Public Relations Officer Espito Chukwu Ikenga confirmed the report. This would not be the first time Obaru local government headquarters has been attacked by gunmen. A previous attack on the secretariat left buildings and cars within the premises burned. It is not clear who the attackers are, but fingers have always pointed at secessionist elements. Lagos State Task Force has launched a major operation targeting miscreants and suspected criminals along the Lekki-Epe Expressway, aiming to address the increasing criminal activities in the area. The crackdown, which was carried out at key locations such as Chesco Roundabout, Elegushi Ikate Roundabout and Mawa Bus Stop, followed numerous complaints from concerned motorists and residents. Reports indicated a rise in criminal incidents, particularly during rush hour, with hoodlums allegedly ambushing unsuspecting passers-by and motorists from hideouts along the expressway. Speaking on the operation, Chairman of the Lagos State Task Force, CSP Adetayo Ekerele, who acted under the special directives of the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, CP Adegoke, reiterated the agency's commitment to ensuring the safety and security of all Lagos residents. The operation has been met with widespread approval from motorists who witnessed the task force efforts to restore law and order along the expressway. The agency has assured residents that the exercise was part of its mandate as outlined in the Themes Plus agenda of the state government, which focuses on restoring law and order across Lagos metropolis. Analysts have tasked university management across the country to hasten up in its approach in tackling the upsurge of sexual harassment in tertiary institutions. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Atlantic Blowout, a political analyst, Loveday Operum, stated that it calls for concern and immediate intervention by relevant authorities in order to ensure further safety of students.
It is something that calls for serious concern, and then the university environment should do something. It's reducing. Hearing that close to half of Nigerian students have suffered sexual harassment, I think is a wake-up call.
Meanwhile, Mr. Operum blames the upsurge in sexual harassment on moral decadence among students and the society at large.
And then people can do everything humanly possible. So the harassment is not just about urge. From my own perception, it's about other things involved, like mystical things, rituals.
This is coming as the Vice Chancellor of the Lagos State University of Science and Technology, Professor Olumuyiwa Odusoya, has expressed grave concern over the rise in cases of sexual harassment within the university community. 6 passengers have been confirmed dead in a crash involving 2 vehicles around Verona, Ogere, Ogun State, along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Federal Safety Corps Public Relations Officer Florence Ope confirmed this in a statement in Abeokuta, the state capital, on Friday. And according to her, 3 others were, however, injured in the crash. She explained that the suspected cause of the crash was excessive speed on the part of the Sienna Space bus, which rammed into a moving truck from the rear. Ash Toyota Sienna and the truck that could not be identified as it was in motion when the crash happened and didn't stop after the crash. According to her, the injured victims were taken to Patmag Hospital, Gere, and the corpses were deposited at the FOS Ipara morgue. The sector commander, Ogun Sector Command, Akinwumi Fasha King, by the driver, he urged motorists to ensure that they give maximum concentration to driving, as it is an act that requires such and obey all traffic rules while driving on the highway. He further commiserated with the families of the crash victims and wished the injured victims quick recovery. Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission again shifted the local government election to January 18, 2025. Dr. Joseph Aremo, OJEC chairman, made the announcement during a stakeholders meeting held at the Commission's headquarters in Akure. The election, which was to be conducted on December 16, 2023, was postponed to February 17, later postponed to July 13, and finally postponed indefinitely before the announcement of the new date. Aremo, while assuring residents of the Commission's readiness to conduct a free, fair and credible election, said that the exercise would be transparent. He urged political parties that had conducted primaries before the postponement to forward the validated list of candidates to the Commission. The chairman said that the distribution of non-sensitive materials to the 18 local governments would take place from January 6, 2025 to January 10, 2025. Mr. Olaoluwa Adesoya, the state chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, expressed satisfaction with the OJEC chairman's presentation on the preparedness of the Commission for the elections. He assured the Commission and residents of the IPAC's participation in the election. Ogun State Police Command on Friday confirmed the death of one Oluwaseun Sorinola, who committed suicide in the Kemta area of Abeokuta. The command's public relations officer, Omolola Odutola, said the lifeless body of the 32-year-old man was seen by his wife hung on the wall of their house. Odutola noted that the incident occurred at about 10 p.m. on Wednesday. ATN also gathered that his death had been caused by the current economic hardship facing the country. She added that the command is monitoring the situation as the family declined an autopsy and insisted on taking the corpse for burial. Students' Union of the University of Ibadan on Friday rejected the school fees increment approved by the governing council of the institution. To show their disapproval, the students staged an overnight protest from 10:20 p.m. to 2 a.m. The president of the union, Bolaji Aweda, vice president Boluwatife Aboderi, the secretary Daniel Elemide, in a statement, rejected the new fees. The union leaders urged students to make use of social media platforms to mobilize others with a hashtag until their demands are met. Governing Council of the University on Thursday approved the increment in school fees of students of the university from 100 to 400 level and also fixed deadline for payment. In a statement signed by the Registrar and Secretary of the Council, G.O. Saliu, and available to UCJUI, the decision was reached at the inaugural meeting of the council held earlier on Thursday, and it considered the new levy as recommended by the Senate of the University. Additionally, the council urged students to take advantage of financial aid such as Nigerian Education Loan Fund and various scholarships offered by the university and other benefactors to assist indigent students. The council also made it clear that there would be no extension of the registration deadline, as the portal will be closed after the specified date. Bandits have invaded the Federal Capital Territory, killing a man identified as Felix Chooks and abducting his entire family. The gunmen reportedly stormed the community around midnight on Thursday with heavy gunfire, a development which reportedly overwhelmed the vigilante services in the area. A resident said efforts to reach the vigilance services during the attack proved abortive, as the men on duty were not taking their calls, apparently due to the heavy gunfire by the bandits. Bandits, who usually operate in the fringes of Niger State, sometimes hit boundary communities in the nation's capital and flee back to Niger State. No fewer than 3 students from Fidia School in Gedam local government area of Yobe State have been confirmed dead after an attack by gunmen at the school early on Friday. The school is reported to belong to the Islamic movement in Nigeria, the Shia sect. The gunmen, who haven't been ascertained whether they are members of the dreaded Boko Haram insurgency group or bandits, rode into the school premises on motorbikes wielding AK-47 rifles. While contacted, the state command's public relations officer Dungus Abdul Karim told our correspondent that the police received a distress call that some hoodlums came on motorbikes with AK-47 rifles and then entered into the school and shot dead 3, adding that one of the students who got injured had been taken to an undisclosed hospital where he is receiving treatment. The state PPRO noted that a teacher who was in the school managed to escape and told the police that there was no sort of confrontation from any member of the armed group, saying it came to him, the teacher, as a surprise. Abdul Karim added that the investigation had commenced, that the police are working to unravel who is behind it, the purpose and credible witness who might have seen the incident. Gombe State Governor Mahamadou Yahaya has pleaded with the Academic Staff Union of University's Gombe State University branch to shelve plans to proceed on strike. Yahaya, who was represented by Secretary to Government of the state, Professor Ibrahim Njodi, made this plea when a delegation of ASU National Executive Council visited visitation panel on GSU visited Gombe State Government House. Our correspondent reports that the government promised to meet earned academic allowance demands and others with 947 million naira by Monday. According to the governor, once the council meets by Monday, the issue of strike would be part of the issue to be tackled and given expedited attention, adding that after the specified time, if nothing happens, the union would proceed with its plans. Speaking earlier, Professor Daniel Gongula, who led the NEC visitation, lauded the government or the governor for prioritizing education while harping on the timeline of government promises. He noted that other states have proceeded with the implementation of the minimum wage without recourse to the national minimum wage table, adding that lecturers, including other workers, use the same market. Acting Governor Yakubu Garba has announced that the military is assessing the security situation in Alawa, paving the way for reopening of a military base in the town. The acting governor made this disclosure at House, Mina, after receiving food donations from Niger East Central District for victims of the recent bandit attack in Alawa. The move aims to provide enhanced security cover to the area, which has been plagued by bandit attacks in recent months. Yakubu Garba also said that calm has since returned to the Barkuta community at the Boso local government area of the state, following communal crisis between farmers and herders, which claimed the lives of several persons. A delegation led by the Babasule Bisala represented the donations to the acting governor at the government house, citing security aims. Salihu, who spoke in Hausa, said the victims were identified and assured that the intervention reached the victims and families of those who were killed during the attack. Katsina State Government has on Home Affairs, Nasiri Mazu, announced this to newsmen after an expanded State Security Council meeting at the Government House in Katsina. The meeting, convened by Governor Diko Umar Rada, aimed to address the recent surge in bandit attacks, which has taken advantage of the cover provided by the rainy season and high crops. The gathering brought together key stakeholders, including members of the State Security Council, local government chairmen, district heads, divisional police officers, representatives, heads of vigilante groups, Katsina Community Watch Corps commanders, and civil defense officials from the 19 affected local government areas. The affected areas include Jibea, Batsari, Safani, Damusa, Kankai, Faskari, Dandume, Sabua, Dusinma, Kufai, and a whole lot of others. Kano State Independent Electoral Commission has on Friday rescheduled the local government elections into the 44 local government areas of the state to hold October 26, 2024. Chairman Professor Sani Lawan announced the rescheduling while addressing newsmen in the Commission's headquarters on Friday. Professor Lawan said the development was in compliance with the October deadline for conduct of the local government elections handed over to the electoral bodies by the Supreme Court. Recall that the local government elections in the state were earlier stated for November 30, 2024. National Emergency Management Agency says flooding has displaced no fewer than 3,633 people from 5 communities in Zango, Kataf local government area of Kaduna State. NEMA Northwest Zonal Coordinator Imam Garki made this known in an interview on Friday in Kaduna. He said that the flood that occurred on August 25 affected Fadan Soho communities. He said the agency, in collaboration with Kaduna State Emergency Management Agency assessment team, discovered that the affected victims had taken refuge with relatives in neighboring villages. Garki also said the invaluable household property was damaged while some houses were submerged. Zamfara State Commissioner of Police Mohammed Dalijan has decorated newly promoted officers with their new ranks in Zamfara State. This followed the promotion of 160 personnel serving under Zamfara State Police Command who were recently promoted by the Nigerian Police Force. The Zamfara State Commissioner of Police Mohammed Dalijan, while addressing the newly decorated officers on Friday at the State Police Command headquarters, said the promotion is part of the ongoing effort to boost the morale and motivation of officers in the front line in the fight against insecurity in the region. He noted that the promotion is not just a reward for past efforts but also a call to greater service in the face of ongoing security threats. CP Dalijan urged the newly promoted officers to redouble their efforts in tackling the menace of banditry, stressing that their new ranks come with increased responsibilities. Also, 84 assistant superintendents of police were promoted to the rank of assistant superintendent of police SP1, while 76 inspectors were elevated to the rank of SP2. Governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, has reiterated that ongoing road projects across the state are evidence of his administration's dedication to enhancing the transportation system by linking towns and villages with access roads. The governor made this known during the flagging off of the construction of 11.265-kilometer long roads in the town of Rawaya, Fofuri, and Koruya, Badora, and Bungudu, and Kaura, Namoda local government areas. The construction of 11.64 kilometers of road linking Rawaya with Fufuri and Kuria Madaro of Bungudu and Kwara Namoda local government areas is aimed at addressing critical infrastructural gaps, enhancing connectivity and supporting economic growth in the local communities in Zamfara State. The 6.6 billion naira project is being awarded to Bauhaus Global Investment Nigeria Limited and is expected to link towns and villages with 2 local government areas. While speaking at the event, the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, emphasized the road construction is part of his administration's broader agenda to improve transportation, boost local economies, and address security challenges. He reassured residents of his commitment to sustainable development and economic advancement. The project is expected to be fully completed within 12 months. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back now to the rest of our stories. Senate has warned the public against what it described as vicious attempts to tarnish its image and that of its leadership. The Senate's position was contained in a statement on Friday. The Senate Leaders Directorate of Media and Public Affairs. The statement titled "Senate Frowns at False Claims Against Bamidele Mostapha Actions" expressed concerns over what it described as recent efforts to undermine public trust in the National Assembly. Reacting to a petition against its leader, Opeyemi Bamidele said it would no longer treat cases of cheap blackmail against it or any member of the Red Chamber with levity. The statement noted that the latest incident involved a petition addressed to the chairman of the Independent Drug Practice and Other Related Offences Commission, Dr. Musa Ali. The petition said to have been signed by a convener of the Public Procurement Transparency Group, David Udo, accused Bamidele of pressuring the Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, into awarding contracts to companies linked to the senator in violation of the Public Procurement Act of 2007. In a warning to those behind the campaigns of misinformation, the statement noted that Nigeria operates under a federal system, under the Constitution, acts of the National Assembly and judicial precedents. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, has condemned the anti-Yoruba comment of a Canadian Igbo lady, describing it as bigotry taken too far. Obi says that such decisive comments should not find a place in our society and should be rejected by everyone. The Labour Party standard bearer said this in a series of tweets on his X handle on Friday. Obi spoke in response to a trending voice of one Amaka patient, a Nigerian-Canadian resident in Canada, who threatened to take harmful substance to harm fellow Nigerians who were either Igbo or Bini. Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has expressed a disappointment over the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors' decision to embark on a 7-day warning strike, despite ongoing efforts by the federal government to address their concerns and maintain industrial harmony. In a statement issued by the ministry spokesperson, Ado Bako, the federal government announced its intention to enforce the no work, no pay policy for the duration of the strike as stipulated by existing labor laws. Bako emphasized that this action is not meant to undermine the legislative concerns or legitimate concerns of medical professionals, but to ensure that essential healthcare services are not disrupted, which could negatively impact the public. The resident doctors initiated the strike on Monday, citing the prolonged kidnapping of Kaduna-based Dr. Ganiyat Popula, who had been held captive for over 8 months. The doctor demanding her immediate release. Bako further explained that the ministry, in collaboration with the relevant security agencies, have been actively working to secure Popula's release, with high-level discussions and coordinated efforts currently underway. The ministry urged the resident doctors to return to the negotiation table, highlighting the need for a collaborative approach to resolving the challenges facing the health sector. Analysts have tasked the Nigerian Communications Commission on the need to utilize the already registered and linked phone numbers. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Society Watch, a development expert, James Martins, stated that more than 90% of Nigerians have already activated the SIM NIN registration. As such, the deadline is not necessary for the moment.
There is a 96% compliance already. What are you doing with 96% of compliance? I call MTN with the SIM card that I've been using since 2011. I am one of the first people to link my name to my SIM card. And MTN operators still ask me for my name and location.
In view of the advancements, Mr. James tasked the Nigerian government and its working institutions on a more futuristic advancement and socio-economic development for the benefit of future generations.
You know, SIM registration. Children in China, I saw a video of children in China, kindergarten children bouncing 2 balls, basketballs. They are preparing them for basketball careers as children, and we're registering SIM in 2024. If there's a deadline, cut off any SIM. Why are there SIM cards that are not connected?
ATN recalls that the NCC have directed all mobile network operators to complete the mandatory verification and linkage of SIMs and NINs by the September 14, 2024. Effective September 15, 2024, the Commission expects no SIM operating in Nigeria will be without a valid NIN. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tyree Labaja have reassured Nigerians that the military will soon surmount the prevailing security challenges bedeviling the country. Labaja stated this during the closing ceremony of the course Combined Second and Third Quarters Conference 2024. Labaja also expressed the loyalty and commitment of Nigerian Army to the country's constitution as well as the promotion of national interests and values. He thanked participants for their sincerity and passion through the deliberation, just as he stated that the Secretariat had adequately captured the decision arrived at during the deliberations. Department of State Services have secured an order from the Federal High Court in Abuja to freeze 20 different bank accounts linked to a suspected female terrorist, Aisha Abdul Karim. The accounts domiciled in 8 different banks are to remain frozen for a period of 60 days to enable the secret police to carry out forensic investigation into the alleged acts of terrorism by the bank account operator. Justice Peter Alifu issued the order for the freezing of the accounts following the ex parte application brought and argued before him by the DSS. Also linked with the alleged acts of terrorism are Yehusa Idris and Abdullahi Babayo Umar, who have been taken into custody by the security agencies following their arrests in different locations. The DSS ex parte application was argued by its lawyer, Yunus Ishaku Umar, who informed Justice Lifu that the freezing order was needed by the DSS to enable its investigation to have unhindered access to the 8 banks where the accounts are domiciled. The banks where the accounts are domiciled are Opay Digital Services Limited, Access Bank, United Bank of Africa, Guarantee Trust Bank, Union Bank of Nigeria, Moneypoint Microfinance Bank, First Bank of Nigeria, and First City Monument Bank. Police have again summoned the President of Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajero, and the General Secretary, Ma Waja, to appear at the force headquarters on September 5, 2024. The new invitation is coming barely 24 hours after Ajero honored the police invitation over his alleged criminal conspiracy, terrorism financing, treasonable felony, subversion and cybercrime. This time around, the police invited the NLC President and General Secretary to answer questions over alleged criminal intimidation, conduct likely to cause breach of public peace and malicious damage to properties. Nigerian Air Force have successfully conducted airstrikes against terrorists in Jubilarum area, southern Tombons, near Lake Chad, eliminating several militants. ABM Edward Gapkwe, the Director of Public Relations and Information, NAF, made this known in a statement in Abuja. Gapkwe says that the operation was made possible due to the forced migration of terrorists to higher ground following persistent rainfall. It says that the NAF aircraft conducted an air interdiction mission, dealing a significant blow to the remnant of terrorists hiding in the area. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, had instructed all air component commanders to intensify operations against terrorists and criminal elements, and the strike of Jubilarum confirmed that the directives were yielding the required outcome. And now in business news, we have reports that the federal government have approved a 50% subsidy for the electricity consumed in public hospitals across the nation. This followed a promise by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, that the federal government would subsidize electricity in hospitals and universities, even if they were on Band A feeders. The approval came as Eco Electricity Distribution Company, EcoDisco, yesterday disconnected power supply to the University of Lagos, Akoka, over unpaid electricity bill, despite the government's promise to aid public universities in this regard. The Minister of State and Health, Social Welfare, Dr. Tunji Alausa, announced the approval at the National Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Banawa, Kaduna State yesterday. He was at the hospital to unveil the electronic health records and alternative power supply source at Lawal Jafaru Shah Emergency Complex and the solarization project at the dialysis unit, which includes a solar-powered borehole. According to him, this gesture to reduce the running costs of public hospitals and alleviate the impact on the patients. Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has given a one-month moratorium to traders and other market stakeholders involved in exploitative pricing to crash the prices of goods. The newly appointed Executive Vice Chairman of the FCCPC, Mr. Tunji Bello, said this at a one-day stakeholders engagement and on exploitative pricing in Abuja. According to Bello, the Commission will begin enforcement after the moratorium. He said that the meeting was to address the growing trend of unreasonable pricing of consumer goods and services and the unwholesome practice of market associations. Bello described the Commission's findings at a fruit blender known as Ninja was being sold at a popular supermarket in Texas for $89, but the same product was displayed for 944,999 naira in a supermarket in Victoria Land, Lagos. Bello wondered about the basis for the arbitrary hike in the price of blender compared to Texas, United States of America. He said the unwholesome practices, including price fixing, were threatening the stability of the economy. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says it is seeking to engage reputable and credible operations and maintenance companies to operate and maintain the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company and the Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company. This was disclosed in a statement on Friday in its official X handle. The Warri Refinery, located in Warri in Delta State, was commissioned in 1978. Warri is a complex conversion refinery with a nameplate distillation capacity of 6,250,000 MTA. The refinery complex includes a petrochemical plant commissioned in 1988 with production capacities of 13,000 MTA and polypropylene and 18,000 MTA of carbon black. The refinery is meant to supply markets in the south and southwest regions of Nigeria. On its past, the Kaduna refinery was commissioned in 1980 to supply petroleum products to northern Nigeria with a capacity of 50,000 BD. In 1983, the capacity was expanded to 100,000 barrels per day by adding a second 50,000 barrels per day crude train dedicated to the production of lubricating oils. In 1986, the capacity of the first crude train was expanded to 60,000 barrels per day. Asian and European markets on Friday rose after a record day on Wall Street, boosted by a strong round of United States data that reassured investors over the health of its world top economy, while focus turned to the release of key inflation figures. With the much-hyped earnings reports from Bellwether, Chip Titan, Nvidia, now the review mirror, traders are once again able to concentrate on economic matters and the Federal Reserve's plans for interest rate cuts. Thursday did not disappoint, with figures showing gross domestic product expanded more than initially thought in the second quarter, while jobless claims dipped. The news indicated that the central bank was achieving its goal of guiding the economy to a soft landing at the same time as it brings prices under control. Now on international tidbits, British government has awarded 82 Nigerians the prestigious Chevening and Commonwealth Scholarship to study a wide range of master's degrees and PhD programs in the UK in 2024. This year, 32 scholars received the Chevening Scholarship and 50 scholars have been awarded the Commonwealth Scholarship so far. A pre-departure ceremony was held in Abuja yesterday for scholars based in Abuja and environs, while a similar ceremony will hold in Lagos next week and will be hosted by the Deputy Head of Mission, Abi Bernard, for scholars in Lagos and nearby cities. At the Abuja pre-departure reception yesterday, the British Deputy High Commissioner, Mrs. Gil Lever, congratulated beneficiaries who succeeded in securing a scholarship through the highly competitive application and interview process. Speaking at the ceremony, the British Deputy High Commissioner, Mrs. Gil Lever, said the UK continues to support the educational development of Nigerians and remain transparent and inclusive in the selection process across Board. Speaking at the reception, Director of Operations, British Council Nigeria, Idowu Akintade, hoped the skills and knowledge from this scholarship opportunity prepares them to make positive impacts in the development priorities of Nigeria. Florida man convicted of brutal murder of a college freshman and the rape of the victim's older sister during a 1994 camping trip was executed. Koyan Cole, 57, was put to death by lethal injection of Florida State Prison, where he was pronounced dead. Cole was sentenced to death for the killing of 18-year-old John Edwards, a Florida State University student, and serving 2 life sentences for the rape of Edwards' 21-year-old sister, Pam, who was a senior at Eckerd College. The U.S. Supreme Court denied Cole's final appeal against the death penalty. His defense attorney argued that Cole, who suffered from Parkinson's disease and had been diagnosed with mental illness and brain damage, could not be executed. They claimed that Parkinson's symptoms will make it impossible for the execution to be conducted humanely. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody countered in a legal brief, noting that Cole only raised the issue of Parkinson's disease after his execution date was set, despite having known about his condition for at least 7 years. Border officials have highlighted that the security of any country and its people should supersede implementation of the ECOWAS free movement protocols. The officials made this disclosure during the ECOWAS Parliament's Joint Committee's interaction session with security officials at the Karang Amdalai border between Gambia and Senegal, as part of the activities to identify issues hindering the smooth implementation of the region. Blocks free movement protocols. Earlier at the town hall meeting with stakeholders including trade unions, transport unions, market women and ECOWAS citizens in the Gambia, most citizens complained of extortion and outright denial of entry at the borders. But while speaking at the Joint Committee's 39th session with border officials, Ali Days, the Special Commissioner of Police at Karang, Senegal, said security of each country should be the priority.
When ECOWAS was developing the protocol, everything in a formal way, because the protocol is formal trade. They are not expecting any kind of informal or whatever. They make the trade formal. Everything should be in a formal way. And it is true that custom also build up our system called Asikuda, because business process of the traders, it's true that we build up our system so that, those things can be facilitated, in a legitimate way. But, the issue with these border crossing issues, mostly, it affected the petty traders, which we can call the informal traders, because they have not business registration or whatever. They are called petty traders. They trade in petty stocks. So once they reach the customs, they have to go through the custom processes of entering, making customs declaration and stuff like that. If you have to go through that, the time taken, affect them. So that affection of the time, they are trying to rate that, like customs is maybe we are trying to delay them, to take money from them. No, we are trying to do our utmost best, to make sure that, trade is facilitated.
Omar Bogang speaking earlier, Edwin Melvin Swan Jr., co-chair of the Joint Committee, said the committee members were at the border to interact with the security officials and get feedbacks on challenges they were facing in implementing the ECOWAS free movement protocols.
Let us take this time to extend thanks to the authorities from both the Gambia and Senegal for receiving us here and for making time so that we can interact, discuss some of the challenges we have, and see how best we can make suggestions for progress. Before I continue, there's a joint committee of the ECOWAS Parliament. It comprises of 4 committees: the Committee on Gender, the Committee on Legal, the Committee on Trade and Customs, and the Committee on Political Affairs, Peace and Security. Today, I'm standing here. I'm here as an ECOWAS citizen. I'm here as your brother. So this is one family. Many years ago, when our forefathers met and decided to form this regional bloc called ECOWAS, it was intended for us to live as a family. Yes, it started with economic activities, but now it's the ECOWAS of people, where we can coexist, we can work together, where your problem becomes my problem, and my problem becomes your problem.
Russian bombardment on Friday killed 2 women and wounded 8 other people in Ukraine's northeastern city of Sumy, officials said, as residents of settlements near Russia's border were urged to evacuate. Sumy lies just across the border from Russia's Kursk region, where Kyiv launched a shock offensive on August 6, aimed in part at creating a buffer zone in Russia. Regional prosecutors said the body of a 37-year-old woman had been found under the rubble of a building in Sumy in the strike. A 48-year-old woman later died in the hospital from her injuries, prosecutors said, adding that either others were wounded in the strike, which sparked a fire. Regional authorities said people in 183 Sumy settlements near the Russian border were being urged to evacuate. In separate attacks, 8 people were wounded in the regions of Kherson and Kharkiv, authorities said. Later that Friday, a 3-story residential building, an administrative building and a shop were hit in the town of Kurakov in eastern Donetsk region, wounding at least 5 people, according to the regional state administration. And now on entertainment, Oba of Benin, Oba Oware II, has gifted a royal plaque to Afrobeat megastar Rema. The Oba presented the plaque to Rema when the singer paid him a visit at his palace ahead of his homecoming concert at Obe Stadium in Benin City. Earlier, Rema joined the Edo State Governor, Godula Basaki, on Wednesday for the groundbreaking ceremony of Edo Arena. The governor announced that the 6,000 capacity arena would be called Rema Dome in honor of the singer. Rema, born Divine Ikubo, is from Benin City and has been a proud ambassador of of Edo State, promoting the state and legacy of the ancient Benin Empire in his music and concerts. His latest hit song, Benin Boys, which featured fellow Edo-born star Shali Poppy, is a tribute to the city of Benin. In the song, Rema mentioned that he deserved a medal from the Oba for promoting the kingdom. And now in sports. Amalgamated Union of the Art-Based Transporter of Nigeria held a maiden edition of River State Football Tournament Fitness Fest 2024 in the bid to unite and address the diverse challenges as well as fitness-related and other issues posing difficulties on e-hailing drivers in Port Harcourt. Our correspondent Tubedov completes the report.
The e-hailing football tournament, which started in July with 9 teams in participation, had its finals graced with stakeholders such as the Nigerian Labour Congress chairman, River State, and other active personalities and sponsors. Highlighting the spirit of the moment from the second half of the finals, the Noble Pilot FC net 2 goals against its opponent, the Golden Star FC, making it a roundup of 4-0 to lift the Atuan Trophy for the season 2024. Noble Pilot FC, participating teams, and the organizing committee of the 2024 Atuan Fitness Fest, which included the issuing of certificates, cash prizes to the highest goal scorer and best goalkeeper in the tournament. Addressing the press, the chairman, Amalgamated Union of Art-Based Transporters of Nigeria, Comrade Omori Amos, the tournament executives as well as team members lauded the commitment of the art-based drivers in coming together in synergy as a union and to address issues as concern the profession. In view of the commitment of the Port Harcourt art-based drivers, the NLC chairman, River State Comrade Alex Agowon, lauded the football tournament and further reiterated that adequate fitness will keep the drivers on the toes against several unusual happenings, as well as give the e-hailers a corporate sense of belonging, pledging more support for Atuan.
Because if you consider the kind of work the app drivers do, they stay in the steering for almost 24 hours minimum. Some of them work through the night. And I think this kind of fitness training and exercise is very, very important. But just my concern is that they are not gender sensitive. I think next time they should also try to accommodate the women.
The idea was to bring together e-hailing drivers in River State and also to breed the unity amongst us and encourage fitness and awareness. To a large extent, I can say that we have done marvelously well.
First, let me appreciate every member of Noble Pilots. I can comfortably tell you today that there are 2 platforms in River State, Noble Pilots and others. And because we've been able to prove this today, I want to say a big congratulations to every member of Noble Pilots for giving us this victory today.
In terms of our job, we've had situations where drivers slumps on the steering, heart issues, sugar, high level of sugar, high blood pressure and all that. And it became a concern to us because we care for our drivers. We thought about it. Yes, of course, it was me, but the State Administrative Council also had to approve.
Otibe Dove, ATN News, Port Harcourt.
Napoli have reached an agreement to sell Victor Osimhen. According to football transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, the club-to-club deal done for 75 to 80 million pounds total package. Osimhen is set to sign a 4-year contract at around 33.6 million euros a season, and then a release clause will be inserted into his contract with the Saudi Arabian club. Al Ahly have also booked a medical for Osimhen, who looks set to snub a move to Chelsea. Cristiano Ronaldo have kept his place in the Portugal squad for next month's UEFA Nations Games against Scotland, despite an ineffective display at the Euro 2024. The 39-year-old failed to score as he appeared at the record 6th European Championship, with Portugal exiting in the quarterfinals, but he retained the backing of coach Roberto Martinez. Ronaldo has started the new season with 4 goals in as many games for Saudi side Al Nassr and is likely to continue to lead the Portugal attack with Paris Saint-Germain striker Goncalo Ramos sidelined by an ankle injury. While veteran defender announced his retirement from football at the age of 41 earlier this month, Martinez is looking for the future with Friday's call-up of 17-year-old Sporting Lisbon winger Quenda, Chelsea left-back Renato Vieira and their defender Thiago Santos are other new faces in the squad for the games against Croatia and Scotland on September 5 and 8 in Lisbon. And that's the global news for tonight, but before we go, another look at the major stories. CP advises newly promoted ASP's gunmen kill 3 in Yobe school. Senate vows move against blackmailers. Federal government to OK's 50% electricity subsidy. Russian strikers kill 2 in Ukraine. Oba of Benin gifts Rema Royal Medal. Al Ali agrees £80 million fee for Osimhen. I'm Enidoye Jackson. Thank you for watching. Stay connected with us on all of our shows.